Welcome back to Your Terms. And if you're watching this, ¿qué tal? What's up? You are watching us as we are currently in Barcelona. And it brought up the perfect topic, which is how did we get our little selves to Barcelona for the whole summer? So, Ray, let's get into it. How do we get here?
I think that a lot of the viewers probably have a million questions like our family and friends did, right? How can you afford it? What made you go? That's crazy to live in another country. But we made that decision and we made it not just off of, hey, let's just go, but off of emotions and things that we wanted to change. So I think you should start because we actually got here because of you.
Yeah.
But our reasons are a little different.
Yeah. Well, loss and sorrow and grief are a hell of a drug. And I'll say that to anybody, and I'll probably say it again and again and again because I'm still in the process. But after a long illness, my mom transitioned in March, and it just set a lot of things kind of afire to me because grief and losing a parent is like burning down your life in one sense. And then you have to decide what you want to rebuild and what is worth rebuilding, right? And you just really begin to look at the status quo. Like you do things because you're supposed to, you do things because you always have. As an entrepreneur, as an attorney, life seems very serious and you take yourself very serious. But looking at death, especially someone has a long illness where you're seeing someone just kind of transition, not just like a sudden thing, but they are becoming something different. You really have a lot of time in a hospital to think about what you want. You have someone who lived their life, hopefully on their terms. And my mom certainly was my inspiration for living life on her terms. But what are my terms? And what do I want to do? And so I've always loved Barcelona. And I just said, throw caution to the wind. Why not? Why can't I? What's stopping me? And then, yes, there are lots of things stopping me. The truth is there's a lot of stuff stopping me. But I decided to just kind of follow my heart and do something that's always been on my wish list. But I didn't want to make it, I'm 60, I'm retired, and now I get to do my wish list things. Like, I'm going to start doing those things now. And so, I talked to Ray and boom, batting the ball to you. Why'd you want it to come?
So she reached out to me and said, let's go stay in Spain for the summer, right? And to me, it didn't sound crazy at all. It sounded like a break from real life for a second to give me time to be able to gather myself and not have the whole world on my shoulder and the hustle and bustle of life. But it also gave me the ability to let my children know that they did not have to stay in the U.S. if they didn't want to. They did not have to live in the U.S. if they don't want to. They can live wherever they choose, which is something that no one told me whatsoever, right? I had just finished reading or listening to, in which I had told her about the Let Them Theory, which is the most amazing book of a lifetime that changed my life. And it made me realize I'd never really healed or grieved from losing siblings, from getting a divorce, from going through a brain tumor. I just went straight back into life because I had way too many people depending on me. So Barcelona was a way for me to get away and find myself and find happiness and freedom.
Yeah, and I think that people think, when you hear someone say, I'm going someplace for the summer, I wish our lives were set up that we were like kicking it all summer. That sounds amazing. That's maybe next year, next 5 years. But the truth is we still have active lives and responsibilities. So it wasn't just like exit left, stage left on all responsibilities. It was more like bring those things with you, but also do some things to prepare for what it looks like, what it feels like to be distant from those things.
Yeah. So I think bring the family with you, bring the work with you because we own our own businesses, but leave everything else behind was for me. We did our best to set up our businesses. So like you said, people probably think that we have it all together and we do not.
No.
We literally traveled for a couple weeks prior to even leaving for this trip. And we had 1 week to get ourselves together. And I think we did pretty good. I mean, we hired people. I fired people. We structured things. We brought things in that we really needed. So I think that this trip, right away before we stepped foot out of the U.S., it allowed us to get ourselves together and to see how much we did not have ourselves together in some areas. So for me, it turned just from, hey, let's get away and find some freedom and find ourselves, to, oh, we're setting up our businesses so that they don't need us anymore eventually, right? And that's something I think everyone dreams and lives, to just want to be able to walk away from a business for a year, for a couple months, however long it takes, and know that that business is going to be operating the way that it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And our children, because I realized that
Are they supposed to, are they
I
operating
realized
like
our
this?
kids were operating off of us as well, i.e. my child that was on the freeway calling me all the way in Barcelona. But it made us just realize what parts of our lives we needed to get together.
I definitely think it was a wake-up call, because you just get stuck in the status quo. I think that's just a literal part of life. It's a part of your survival. It's probably a part of your success. Just you do the same things every day and you don't think about mixing things up. And as an entrepreneur, sometimes it's hard to release control, let someone step in and manage things that you're currently managing. Because if you've built something from scratch, you think you are the linchpin. Like nothing happens without me. And you probably built your business that way so that everyone needs to run something by you. Everyone needs to talk to you. And with my mom being sick, I realized I have a perfectly capable staff. They can make decisions, especially if I give them some insight on how I make decisions. They can handle their own tasks and responsibilities. And as an entrepreneur, if you're not hiring people who could do those things, then that's a whole nother episode. Like think again, who you put around you is important, and they can elevate your life and your business, or they can bring it down. So you start thinking about, if I'm not the linchpin of this business, which is key if you ever want to sell it, if you're not the linchpin, how do you put those things in place? And it can be a scary thing because it's scary to other people. Hey, go fly by yourself. And it's scary to you because you don't want your business, your baby, to crash and burn. Yeah. So I don't know. For me, I did not know how to approach it. I never have wanted staff to think I'm just out kicking it and they have to work hard and I don't work hard. So is a very scary thing for me because that's how I grew up, and my mom was that kind of entrepreneur. She worked 6 days a week. Everybody knew she was the hardest working person there. But I think there's a difference between working hard, like physically doing something, and thinking hard. And I decided to transition to thinking hard.
Yeah. I think that when it comes to owning your own business and being an entrepreneur, we get so tied up with the hustle and bustle. We forget that we're just supposed to be the brains and the creator of things, right? We're not supposed to be the one that is in the office once the business takes off. Now, don't get me wrong. If you guys just started a business, you definitely need to know how to operate your business, or your business can get taken from underneath you. But once you are operating and you're up and running, you should just be the person bringing the business and not actually doing the work, right? So the first thing that I realized after, what we didn't mention is we also traveled 2 weeks after the other 2 weeks. So we've been traveling 4 weeks before we even got to Barcelona, is that I was firing myself. The biggest thing that I'm going to do by the end of the year, I will fire myself and I will replace myself with someone that can do everything that I can do, but I would still hold on to the creativity and the thinking, as she put it, for a little while longer. I've always been a hard worker, so I think that my workers know, or my employees know, that I'm not just leaving them to, do all the work and me not to do anything. But they also know if I don't move out the way, they will never be able to move up, right? And they don't feel like I give them enough responsibility or trust them enough because I'm holding on to it like it's my child and I can't let it go.
Yeah.
And I realized while we were gone that there's some people within my office, a lot of people that actually know a lot more than I do in different areas, right? They're still, I don't know if people are familiar with like the DISC test. They're still I, S's, and C's, and I'm still the D. But they actually got a lot more things done without me, spoon feeding them.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I think when you believe and invest in your own greatness, you can see other people's greatness, right? You become a conduit. Like, I am doing something that's hard, that is maybe non-traditional, but I believe in my own tenacity, my own ability, my excellence. And so you hope to spread that to your staff. Like, I'm doing this because this is my truth and you should do your truth. And that may mean, hopefully you elevate your position here, you find your own happiness. And that may be your happiness is not here. And that's true too.
Yeah, yeah, you can definitely figure it out. It's almost like when you're in a relationship, right? And one person says like, "Oh, I'm not really liking this relationship," and then the other one realizes, "Well, no, I'm not the one liking it," right?
I
And
ain't
you're
like
like, "Oh,
it
wait," right? So you can travel abroad, or you can go be free, and you can realize that, hey, I actually do like the hustle and bustle.
either.
I'm just gonna be honest. I loved it for a long period of time, and I don't like it anymore. I think I'm I'm at the
Think the
time of my
same
life
thing.
where I should just be free. Being in Barcelona and stepping out of the apartment, and life is just like leaving us behind. Like,
Yeah,
we are so stressed in the US that it's crazy.
it
Like,
is.
I've learned so much here. I mean, this is off subject and this is nothing to anyone. As you guys seen, I gained weight myself, but living here, like, the people here are so healthy and
Mhm.
in shape and everything else. And I think what the US fails to realize too is that a lot of our food is just it's
Basura.
making us sick.
It's
Yeah. It's
garbage.
making us sick and everything else. And us, the lack of exercise, because we're so stressed out trying to make sure work and everything is okay. And then you come here, and I'm sure they're working and they're going through problems
Yeah.
just like us,
Yeah.
but they're doing it so gracefully. Like, I looked it up, and it was like one of the least stressful places in the world is Spain.
Yeah, they like to kick it. Now, is it the $3 glasses of vino? I don't know.
I don't know what it is.
No, I don't think
What I
so.
cannot keep up with is the 10 p.m. dinners that the entire city does, and these guys do as well. What one thing that I think I learned as well that I think people have to pay attention to is, just to kind of catch them up. We did 2 weeks with the kids where we, went to Bali, different places. We went home for a week, and then we traveled alone with a friend, just the grown-ups, for about 2 weeks
Yeah,
before we
10
landed in
days.
Barcelona and the kids started coming. And it made us realize, and it's nothing against the children, that there was some things that we might have just missed out on. Like, for me, my son calling me saying, "Hey, I'm on the freeway and my check engine light's on." It was like, did I not teach you to just go to the shop? Like, he
Yeah.
literally was sitting there and his car could still go. So it's like, is your car broke down? No. Is it doing anything wrong? No. He's like, I don't know what to do. How am I supposed to get home from the shop? Oh, it made me realize not just the business that I was spoon feeding. I was spoon feeding the kids.
Yeah.
And although I teach my kids a lot, we travel a lot. They probably know more than the average person. I am very strict with my children. I teach them a lot. I pour into them, but it's some of the little things that we miss. And maybe it's as single parents that we're missing it. It's some things that maybe a male, I don't know, should be teaching them. It's just some things that we're missing that I feel like when I get back home, or even here when they get here, I have to sit down and give them a checklist, But if I wouldn't have came here, I don't think I would have been made aware that there are some steps that I missed out on,
Yeah.
or maybe that they didn't listen to, along the way.
I think a step away helps you see things more clearly, like always. Like, you talked about walking out of the apartment and like seeing life going. And I think even though we live in Houston, probably one of the busiest cities in the world, but I don't think about or see life moving. I only see my life. Like, where do I have to go? I need to be here. All this traffic's in my way. And when I walk out in Barcelona, I can see the beauty. Like, look at all these people going. I wonder where she's going. Oh, it's time to get coffee. And I take my son to camp very early here. So I start my day still very early. But it's a beautiful thing to just see life and appreciate it in a way outside of yourself, outside of like, oh, I need to call 10 people. I feel like from the moment I wake up at home, I'm thinking about my to-do list. Call this person back, tell this person this, drive here. And so to just have a space to say, let me think about my day in a slower pace is an amazing way just to reflect on life and just to appreciate it a little bit different.
Yeah. I mean, as you know, I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning because by 6:30 in the morning, you're probably getting emails from me on the business side, not on the friend side. But here, a little bit because my schedule is messed up from Bali and from the other countries
Yeah.
that we were traveling, I have been sleeping late, like probably till 9 o'clock. And when I wake up, I'm so concerned. I'm like, I missed out on the day. What is going to happen? But really, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that living our lives that we live, because it's not necessarily in the US, we learn the habits from the US,
Mm-hmm.
but living our lives have like really put a burden on us of society, or I don't think it's society, I think it's ourselves being so hard on
Yeah.
our own selves to be like, hey, we're not, well, let me take that back. My grandma told me women shouldn't sleep past 7 a.m. So my grandma put that part on me, but she lived a different life. Like, she didn't travel outside of the United States. So when we wake up and we're like, hey, we didn't work out, or we gained weight, or we ate this, or we drank too much, or, like, oh, work didn't get done, or we didn't make this amount of money today, I think we put more stress on ourselves
Yeah.
than we can handle. And now it's become a routine. So when we wake up and we're not getting phone calls because we're not on the same time schedule
Because
as
it's midnight.
yeah, we think that we missed out on something. We think we failed. We think our business isn't operating the way it's supposed to. When we wake up, at 9 o'clock in the morning, I think that I'm being a bad example, and I'm like, who am I being a bad example to? Because half the kids don't want to get up yet.
All right.
Anyway,
the kids are like,
right?
yay, go back to sleep.
So for me, I think the first part of the learning, what I learned first here, is to be okay with just being okay. Like,
Just
you don't have to be great. You don't have to be
okay.
Yeah, like, success is just a word.
Yeah.
That's it. It's whatever you make of it. Because there's people that are well more successful than maybe both of us, and all they are successful at is being happy. They're happy. They're at peace. They're not as stressed out. And then the world look at us and say, like, okay, well, you're this investor. You have this big construction company. Like, you have this money. Like, you have this. And for me, I'm still missing a piece of it. And that's the most important part of it. And that's the less stress. That's the love. And that's just sitting back and being at peace.
I would say the peace part is even what motivates me, like, every day, because as I went through grief, I think people can look at you, especially if you're strong, as like you're bulletproof. And so it becomes necessary, if you kind of buy into that belief yourself. While I was going through the grieving process, like, get up, dry your tears, keep going. That's what strong people do. Put on a brave face, cry later. And now it's like, if I wake up and I feel in the midst of grief, then that's what I am. And I can just be that. I don't have to dry off the tears. I don't have to rush through the process. Like, okay, well, you could cry for 5 minutes, but then break's over. It's time to get back to work. And so some things, it's like we've learned some teaching so well that it becomes a part of us, and breaking free from that feels very odd. It's like, oh no, I spent 30 minutes crying this morning. Why? That's too much time. You need a therapist. And not to say that doesn't trigger.
You need a therapist.
You need a grief therapy.
We all need therapy.
But sometimes you just need to be sad. Sometimes just being in the emotion itself is enough. You don't have to be anything else. It's okay to be sad. That's not indicative of something wrong with you if you're sad on a given day. Emotions are okay to come and go. And often if you let them come in and feel how you feel, that's how they go away. It's the pushing down. It's the pushing away. It's saying, it's not time for that, or I'll do that later. That makes it endure. Like, okay, I'm just going to be back tomorrow then. And I'll be back every day until you face the difference, or the sorrow, or the grief, or the anger, or whatever it is. Because if you can face it, then you can kind of absorb it, and it doesn't stalk you like I felt grief was stalking me when I was at home, because I wasn't giving it space. And so then I was just running, and then kaboom, like Katie Kaboom, I was blowing up because I tried to run from it, and it was impossible to run from.
Yeah. I think grief is a very hard pill to swallow. And we all go about it differently. For me, when I lost people that were close to me, I was living in Texas at the time, and they were in Minnesota. So I literally, people don't realize, because they're like, oh, you're dealing with it so easy. I literally just pretending like they were still there. Like, I'm in Texas, and when I go to Minnesota, I'll go see them, which was the most dangerous thing that you could possibly do, because one day it all just came and it hit me, and I didn't know what the heck was wrong with me. People definitely are hard on themselves when it comes to emotion, especially people that are high Ds, people that are like entrepreneurs, people that are like considered the quote unquote strong people in their family, because they don't believe they have time to cry, and the world doesn't think they have to. Should cry. And I do believe that you should cry, not sit in your emotions. So this shouldn't be like a pity party per se, which means where it's like, look at me, I'm, going through emotions is different than needing attention. I think it's two different things.
Yeah.
Is where people get lost at. So when people are crying and they're emotional and people are like, oh, they just want attention. No, that's not the case all the time. But if I'm over here saying, look at me, I need help, forget everything you're going through, and it's all about me all the time, that's something different. And I think that people should go to therapy. Yeah. And in our community, people don't necessarily believe in it, which is very hard.
Yeah.
But we have to be able to release something, because most of us, our age and older, we're taught to, be private, hold it in, hold in secrets. Don't let the world know that you're down. Yeah. And at one point, you got to forget about the world. Yeah. Because the world is what got you where you are. It got you emotional. It got you shut down. It made you strong in a positive way, but it made you strong in a negative way too.
Yeah, yeah. And I think I was transferring a lot of my desire to get through things with just work through it. Just work through it. Just throw all your energy and your effort into work and kind of put that personal part of your life behind you. But my Spanish tutor told me something. I love it. I'm going to really absorb it, because she was like, here in Spain, we work to live and you guys live to work. And I think that may apply for food too, which is why they may be so fit. But it's just, you work so that you can have the life you want, meaning the ultimate goal is the life. Mm-hmm. And then I feel like in the U.S., the ultimate goals becomes the work. What are you doing? How much are you making? Is your business growing? Oh, you have this many attorneys now. And that means your life is successful, at least from an outward thing. So people are saying, oh, you guys are so successful. Hey, you might be going through the worst time in your life, and everybody's going through something. Mm-hmm. Seen or unseen, just giving people grace. Everybody's going through something, but give yourself grace. What do you really want in your life? And I hate that in America, because we don't have leave, because we don't have long holidays, you don't even ever get a chance to say, what do I even want to do with my life? You pick at 23, my daughter's 23, pick your path, and then you have to stay on it for 60 years before you retire and die. That is so stupid. I think it's very stupid that you just start on this path. You never have a chance to look around and say, do I want to do this? Because the goal is to climb up. The goal is to be successful. And so have you had the time? Have I ever taken the time to assess, what do I want to do? Yes, I'm an attorney. Yes, I'm in real estate. Yes, I do all those things, but those are not me. Mm-hmm. The things I do, the jobs I have, that is not me. Maybe I want to go off and be a photographer. Do I have the space? Have I given myself the space and the confidence that I can do whatever I want? If you tell that to your kids, I think coming to Barcelona was an example to me. I'm just saying it to you as an example. I'm telling you, and I'm living, you can do whatever you want. Whatever you want. If that's what your terms is about. If you want to go live in Barcelona, bueno, go. If you want to switch your careers and change from corporate attorney to photographer, bueno, go. You can do what you want, but we forget that. And we think we have to do what we're supposed to do, especially when you have kids and you have a business that you feel responsible for.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to touch bases on a couple of things. I was watching Emily in Paris on Netflix before we left to go to Paris. And they said the same thing, that we, what did your coach say again? We live to work, and they work to live, right?
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, they were talking about how, on Sundays, most of them can't work, or they're off and they shut down at certain times. I seen a part of it where the whole town got together and they ate lunch together one day, right? Which is amazing. And it made me think about the fact of how we're pushing ourselves so hard, but we also are pushing our children. It's on a regular basis. We're like, what are you going to do? If I can go back in time, and my grandma was able to allow me to, and she did, I left home early. I decided that I needed to get myself together quickly. But if I would have just stayed at home a little bit longer and had the opportunity to figure my life out and figure out what I had to do, I didn't have to do it in the midst of a midlife crisis at 35 years old, right? The second thing I want to say is that you touch bases about loving yourself or doing it for yourself, or just being there for yourself, basically. One of my therapists told me, and I am a firm believer in therapy, even when life is great for you. What he told me to do is write down 10 of my love languages, not the love languages you guys know, like a act, a gift, or whatever the case may be. A love language meaning like, do I like people to be dependent? Do I like people to tell the truth? Do I like what actually makes me feel good? And you have to be careful because a lot of us do what is the opposite of our pain language. So if someone cheated on us, we'll say, okay, well, our love language is to not cheat. That's not your love language, right? That is just something that someone did to you and you prefer someone not to do for you. Once I wrote those things down, those 10 love languages that I want for other people, he told me, now the first thing you have to do is you have to be that for yourself first, right? Because how do you expect anyone to treat you that way if you're not even treating yourself that way?
Yeah.
Right? And it made me start thinking like, hey, do I trust myself? Do I love myself? Do I believe in myself? Like, am I there for am I honest with myself? Like, what are the things that I am not for myself and I need to fix that? And when I started working on that, it started to change the dynamics of how other people treated me as well, right? I made myself the strong person. I'm the strong person. So I don't want to be strong no more, right?
Hello, boo.
I don't want to be strong. It's
2
crazy,
out of 10.
right? I want to trust the decisions that I make, right? I don't want to go off of what society said I should be or how I should be. I want to just make decisions. So if I want to wake up this morning and I don't want to work and I want to walk for 2 hours, as long as it's not going to mess up anyone else's life, this is exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So I think when you hear the name Your Terms in a podcast, you first have to learn how to love yourself and be to yourself everything that you want everybody else to be. Because at the end of the day, no one can make you happy. They can only add to your happiness, right? No one can treat you better than you treat yourself. And if you're lacking those things on the inside, you're going to always think that the outside world is being mean to you no matter what. So you're just hustling and bustling all day long trying to get to this finish line that you're never going to get to. Yeah, that's imaginary. So, it's a lot of stuff that I think you have to work on even while you're in the U.S., but I'm working on it just so happened while I'm in Barcelona.
Yeah, and I think Your Terms, I think you have to give yourself space to like really feel what's the way for you. And I was nervous, I'll be transparent. It's not an easy thing to say I'm going to pick up and be someplace distant from all the things and the people that are dependent on me. It's hard. So I was walking one of the first days we got to Barcelona. And like I said, I love the city. I've loved it as a visitor because it has such its own like life force to it. And so people are moving. It's a metropolitan city, but it's like very old architecture. People are very friendly and relaxed. And we picked a part of town to live in that is in the middle of the mix. We pulled up at like 11:30 at night and people were just walking around. We were like, wow, what is this? So we're walking one day and we're just kind of exploring, going nowhere fast. And I said, I made the best decision for me. And I can't tell you the last time I really felt like I made a good decision for me. Not for my kids, not for my job, not for my clients, not for my staff, just for me. I made a good decision for me. And that is a huge release because as an adult, our priorities stack on top of us. They don't go work beside us. We have to do these things for other people because they need us. They need attention. They need money. And we forget us and what we need and what we want. And this has been like shining light on, are you doing the things that you want? Even like getting a hobby. So people are like, what's your hobby? I'm like, traveling, but that's an expensive hobby. I need a hobby and something I can do just in my regular life that is a reflection just of me. Mm-hmm. And that becomes your me time and your time to reconnect with yourself and find and see the world through the things that you love.
Yeah. The most important thing a person can be is themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that that has been the hardest thing for everybody to do is to show up as themselves in a world that wants them to be so many different people, right?
Yeah.
This podcast is not exactly about us. We're going to share our journey and our thoughts and the things that we've learned along the way. But this podcast is for you, and that's why we named it Your Terms. So we always want you to dial in. We want you to send us some questions for us to talk about or answer on the next podcast. And just put yourself in our shoes And just imagine what you would do if you just picked up one day. We didn't plan this last year. We didn't plan
No.
this 3 months ago.
No.
Literally, she called and we had to start looking
That's
on
not
top of
everybody's.
another trip. That's not everybody's story. You don't have to do it our way, but we may not have came here if we didn't do it that way. So do it your way and do it on your terms. That's a wrap on this episode of Your Terms, where we don't just talk about it, we live it.
If something resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who's ready to live louder, bolder, and freer.
And this isn't just our conversation. We want to hear from you. Come find us on Instagram at Your Terms Podcast and tell us how you're making moves on your terms.
We're building a community, and you have got a seat at the table.